Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your guy Realistic, and I'm doing another tutorial for SoundOracle.net. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do some light saturation on some vocals to really help those vocals cut through the mix even better. But first, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. That way you can stay up to date with our latest videos and tutorials, and you'll also get tips and tricks right in your mobile feed when you subscribe. Also, Oracle and I have two online mixing courses right now, the Art of Beat Mixing and the Art of Vocal Mixing. Both of them are jam-packed with several gems, multiple videos, and hours worth of content. So I'll put the link in the description below if you want to sign up for that. So let's go ahead and dive in and figure out how we can get a little bit more punch and a little bit more excitement with our vocals without having to overdo it. And this is something that I pretty much use on every vocal, whether it's hip hop, R&B, pop music. It usually doesn't matter what type of vocal I'm going for. I'm going to use this process unless I did some stuff with some outboard gear or analog gear in the studio already. But in this case, I did not do that. So let's go ahead and dive in. Super simple. This tutorial won't be too long. So we got this vocal here. Let me hit play.
Caught up on a girl, I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like me.
Right, it's cool. It's got some pretty good quality already, and so we're not really trying to do anything to, enhance the quality or anything. What we're doing is we want to add a little bit more bite to it, a little bit more drive. So what I like to do is I like to go and grab a little bit of saturation. The one that I normally use is Saturn 2, but you could use honestly your favorite saturation plugin. Decapitator will work. There's probably some stock plugins that you can use. Tape emulators too, like the ones that UAD has, or I know Waves has some ones too, like the Abbey Road one, and they got a few other ones. Tape emulators work really good. I like to use some type of saturation or tape emulator more than I like to use like a distortion or overdrive or crunch plugin. But let's go ahead and show you what we have to do here. And it's really not too much that I'm even going to do. I actually really like, for the most part, the default settings on Saturn. I like a warm tape, and the drive 20%, that's where it's set to. That's about where I would crank this at, 20, maybe 25%. And then the only thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply the oversampling so we get a little bit more of a clear sound without having to do any type of aliasing or, reduce chances of artifacts. I got a whole video on that though, so I'm not going to bore you with what that is right there with the oversampling. But let me go ahead and bypass this.
Caught up on a girl, I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like me. So why do I trip when you cannot see? Hard to compute when it's no IP. Need it on the low, that's no high key.
Right, it's subtle, but it does, bring the vocal forward a little bit more, adds a little bit more bite, a little bit more drive with it. Let me solo it so you can hear with and without it. Here's without it first.
Caught up on a girl, I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like me. So why do I trip when you cannot see? Hard to compute when...
Right, and then I'll just crank it up just a little bit more so you can really hear it. But for my ears, I could definitely hear the difference between the two. But let's even bring this up closer to 30%.
Caught up on a girl, I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like me. So why do I trip when you cannot see?
Right, just kind of pushes it forward, adds a little bit more excitement to it. I do have a full tutorial that we released recently about overdoing the saturation, right? And so I'll actually put a link to that video right here. It's a totally different sound, gives you more of an aggressive sound. So if you want to check that out, just click that link and you'll be able to watch a video on how we do that. Now, as far as where I'm putting this in the chain, because that also factors into, for this particular one, I'm I usually like to cut in with an EQ first. So you see right here on the chain that, obviously starting with auto tune, but that's usually what you're going to start with if you have auto tune. And then I'm cutting, and then afterwards I'm adding the saturation. You could reorder the chain if you wanted, but just know that you're going to get different results based on that. The reason why I cut first is because a lot of these frequencies that are in here, I didn't want the saturation to excite those frequencies. I didn't want the frequencies in the first place, so I didn't want the saturation to excite them anyways. And then I did put it before the compression because I wanted that drive or that bite to go into the compressor. You could put it after the compressor, but just know that you're going to saturate the compressed sound as well. But you could do that as well, just all for preference. For me, my preference is to cut and then saturation and then compress. But if you did want to, you could put the saturation before you cut any EQ, but just know that you're going to get all the frequencies saturated.
Oh, caught up on a girl I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like me. So why do I trip when you cannot see? Hard to compute when it's no IP. Needed on.
You see, when I do that afterwards, I get a little bit clearer of a sound. So I'm going to show you one other thing that you could possibly do if you didn't want to use a distortion, saturation, or tape emulator. Another thing that you could do is you could grab a preamp emulator, and what you could do is you could increase the drive a little bit and then turn the output down. I do have some outboard gear that is just like this. I have a Warm Audio 1073. It's the same setup, and sometimes what I do when I'm recording vocals is on the actual outboard gear, I'll do this exact technique right here. And so what you'll do here is you'll increase the input a little bit and then just turn down the output a little bit. So that way we clip it going in a little bit, cause some saturation, some distortion, and then turn down the output. That way, we get the saturation, but then we can bring back the overall gain. So let me go ahead and change this as I'm playing it so you can really hear what it's doing.
Oh, caught up on a girl I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like.
And then let's play it in the mix.
Oh, caught up on a girl I think I know. Take a little risk, I lost my soul. You can never live my life like me. So why do I trip when you cannot see? Hard to compute when it's no IP. Need it.
Yeah, so you hear right there that a little bit of light saturation on your vocals can add a little bit more bite, a little bit more drive, a little bit more punch, and just have it cut through even better. Just a really easy one to do, and it's definitely something that I try to do on pretty much every vocal mix that I do. I just love how it sounds, and I'm a sucker for saturation. So anyways, like I said before, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page so you can stay up to date on videos just like this one, and you'll also get those tips and tricks in your mobile feed. And also check out those online mixing courses, the art of beat mixing and the art of vocal mixing. Both of those have the link in the description below.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel right here so you can catch the latest tutorials on mixing, mastering, and production. And you can check out some of our suggested videos here, here, and here. And of course, if you're looking for premium loops and samples, you can find that at SoundOracle.net. We got plenty to choose from.